प्रति सेकंड तक लाएंगे।
On your TV screens, the visuals, the real-time visuals of the drogue parachutes in a deployed condition being captured from the crew module. Current altitude 10 kilometers.
Plus 3 minutes.
इस क्रम में अगली घटना जब ऊंचाई 2.4 किलोमीटर की रह जाएगी तब ड्रोग पैराशूट को क्रू मॉड्यूल से अलग कर दिया जाएगा तथा पायलट और मेन पैराशूट डिप्लॉय किए जाएंगे। क्रू मॉड्यूल की गति पूर्व निर्धारित तरीके से कम की जा रही है। यह ड्रोग पैराशूट के कर्षण के कारण होता है।
The intent of drogue parachutes is to reduce the velocity of crew module from 145 meters per second to 51 meters per second. Current velocity 61 meters per second.
क्रू मॉड्यूल धीरे धीरे नीचे आता हुआ ड्रोग पैराशूट
Plus 4 minutes.
उसकी गति कम की जा रही है। 57 मीटर प्रति सेकंड है अभी वर्तमान गति है उसकी।
Next flight event will be triggered by sensing the altitude of 2.5 kilometers, which is the deployment of pilot chutes and then the main parachutes. We are at an altitude of 4.7 kilometers.
अब तक पूरी गतिविधियां पूर्व निर्धारित तरीके से जारी हैं। ऊंचाई धीरे धीरे कम होते हुए गति लगभग 50 मीटर प्रति सेकंड। यहां हम स्क्रीन पर देख सकते हैं दो ड्रोग पैराशूट्स लगभग 5.6 मीटर व्यास के
Plus 5
पैराशूट्स
minutes.
हैं।
Visuals of drogue chutes,
Chute released, main chute deployed.
and there is a confirmation that drogue chutes have been released and
Location
pilot
transmitter
chutes have
request of
enabled the
beacon
main
on.
parachutes to deploy. These main parachutes, which are 3 in number, are very, very large in size, 25 meters each.
खूबसूरत नजारा ये 3 मेन पैराशूट्स डिप्लॉय हो चुके हैं और यह वह अंतिम चरण है जब क्रू मॉड्यूल की गति को 8.5 मीटर प्रति सेकंड से कम ले आया जाएगा और क्रू मॉड्यूल टच डाउन करेगा।
To bring down the velocity of impingement in the sea to around 8.5
Crew module
per
in
second.
descent phase with main chute.
Plus 6 minutes.
relative velocity now 12 meters per second. We are at an altitude of 1.6 kilometers.
परीक्षण पूर्व निर्धारित तरीके से जारी है। गति धीरे धीरे कम होते हुए अब 15 मीटर प्रति सेकंड रह गई है और ऊंचाई 1.5 किलोमीटर।
Indian Navy team is readily deployed in the sea around the Sriharikota coast for quickest possible reaching to the crew module and then recovering it.
अंत में टचडाउन के पश्चात मेन पैराशूट को भी क्रू मॉड्यूल से अलग कर दिया जाएगा तथा क्रू मॉड्यूल अपने आसपास रंग बिखेर देगा जिससे इसे लोकेट करने में आसानी होगी। वहां सुरक्षित दूरी पर तैनात
Plus 7 minutes.
भारतीय नौसेना के पोत इसके पास जाकर उसे रिकवर करेंगे।
The crew module is provided with flotation systems and it will be remaining afloat until the recovery crew reaches it. To aid in recovery, sea markers and location transmitters are provided to be identified at the quickest possible time.
यह सब एस्ट्रोनॉट्स को सुरक्षित पृथ्वी पर वापस लाने की प्रक्रिया है।
Crew module in descent phase with main chute.
यह डिसेंट फेज जारी है। मेन पैराशूट के साथ क्रू मॉड्यूल धीरे धीरे नीचे आ रहा है। अब ऊंचाई 0.8 किलोमीटर रह गई है।
+8 minutes.
टचडाउन की स्थितियां प्राप्त की जा चुकी हैं।
As we told you, 8.5 meters per second is the benign touchdown velocity. We are now observing around 9 meters per second velocity, while the altitude is around 600 meters.
सभी गतिविधियां पूर्व निर्धारित तरीके से पूर्ण हो रही हैं। इससे पता लगता है कि वैज्ञानिकों की गणना कितनी सटीक है, विश्वसनीय है, और उसका ही प्रदर्शन आज यहां किया जा रहा है।
+9 minutes.
300 meters altitude.
ऊंचाई धीरे धीरे कम होते हुए 200 मीटर की ऊंचाई रह गई है। गति 5 मीटर प्रति सेकंड।
When the crew module touches down, eventually the main parachutes also will be released away from the crew module.
Impact is sensed.
Now the confirmation is available for a successful splashdown of the crew module.
यहाँ इसकी घोषणा कर दी गई है। क्रू मॉड्यूल को सुरक्षित टचडाउन करा दिया गया है बंगाल की खाड़ी पर। ये आप विजुअल देख सकते हैं, खुशी की लहर वैज्ञानिकों में।
Jubilant ambience in the Mission Control Center here at Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota. On your TV screens, the visuals live from the Bay of
Handing over to
Bengal.
Mission Director.
This is Mission Director. The TV-D1 mission has fully accomplished its objectives. The crew module has safely landed the targeted point.
मिशन उद्देश्य प्राप्त कर लिया गया है। अब आपको संबोधित करेंगे इसरो अध्यक्ष श्री एस सोमनाथ।
ISRO has achieved a successful test vehicle flight and has moved a step closer to the prestigious Gaganyaan mission. We take leave from you. Do continue to stay tuned for the address by Secretary DOS, Chairman ISRO, Shri S. Somnath.
आप सभी दर्शकों को शुभकामनाएं। हम आपसे आज्ञा लेते हैं।
Yes, sir. Shivmar and Hutton. Hutton, Shiv. Hutton. Come. I'm very happy to announce the successful accomplishment and initiated an abort condition for the crew escape system to function. The crew escape system took the crew module away from the vehicle, and subsequent operations of the crew module separation from the crew escape system, all the parachutes opening and touched down in the sea at the required velocity has been very well accomplished, and we have got confirmation of the data of all of this. And we will be further doing the approach recovery operations of the crew module to be collected from the sea, brought to the port by the ships, that activity will continue to happen. Till now, based on the data, everything has performed very nominally and perfect. I would also like to tell the reason for why we had a hold. We initially wanted the launch to happen at 8 o'clock in the morning, but there was some weather-related issues. We have rescheduled the launch to 8:45 a.m. But after going through the nominal liftoff process, there was a hold issued by the ground computer, which is called the automatic launch sequence computer, which detected a sort of a non-conformance for allowing the engine to continue the thrusting to further go. So this happened due to a monitoring anomaly in the system. So we could identify it very, very fast and correct it. And to make the stage ready, it took some time to refill the gases. And that once that has been completed, we went through the proper automatic launch sequence, which checked the entire health of the vehicle. And finally, the mission computer and the ground checkout computer authorized the launch to take off, which released the rocket from the launch pad, and subsequent activities of the flight as well as the post termination abort sequence also got executed perfectly. So I'm very happy that our team could understand in case of any anomaly how to rectify and come back fast. And congratulations to everybody. This is a big training for the entire team here to prepare for the Gaganyaan program. I'm very happy that launch could take place today within the allocated launch window. And we will come back with more analysis and data of this mission on recovery of the crew module, which is happening now. We are having views from coming from the sea, from the drones, cameras which are being taking them. Before we get any further updates, I would like to introduce the mission director, Sri S. Shivakumar, and the director of the crew module and crew escape system to you. So over to Shivakumar.
Thank you, Chairman ISRO. All center directors, senior members, MRR and FRR team, and all distinguished guests. It's like words are not coming up. Yeah. Sir, this is like, never before attempt. It's a bouquet of 3 experiments put together, and we have now seen the fragrance and the characteristics of all 3 systems with what we wanted to test through this experiment or this mission. The test vehicle, the crew escape system, the crew module, everything I think we have perfectly demonstrated in the very first attempt, but for the initial hitch, but that's nothing a problem at all. All the systems performed well. I thank you for all the support provided by the entire team of ISRO across all centers of VSSC, LPSC, IPRC, IASU, SDSC, HSFC, etc. Thank you all, sir. It was a penance for us for the last 3-4 years, and then we have reached the D-Day today. And it was a very happy occasion that we could make it on the very first attempt. Thank you.
Now, Mr. R. Hutton, he is the mission executive for the crew module realization, and also the mission director of the Gaganyaan.
Excellent. Hearty congratulations to all, my dear team ISRO and team India. As mission director has already said, I'm not getting any words to appreciate the whole team. In fact, it's as far as the Gaganyaan program is concerned, this is the first major milestone. In fact, this is going to be a great motivator for all of us in the Gaganyaan, cut across all the ISRO centers. And in this particular Gaganyaan, the most important is the safety of the crew. And the safety of the crew that has been demonstrated in this excellent mission, the test vehicle mission, where we have simulated an abort and how the crew escape system carries the crew module away like a bird is taking its chicken and then to a safe place. The Gaganyaan vehicle, though it is fully robust and reliable, but then we can't take anything to the chance. And therefore, if any malfunction happens, there has to be a system in the launch vehicle which is called the crew escape, which will take the crew module away and safely take the crew module and then land. This is what exactly has been demonstrated today in this first mission of the test vehicle. So at this moment, I would like to thank and congratulate the test vehicle project team led by Mr. Shivakumar, the mission director, his vehicle director, Mr. Shivamurugan, and all associated members of the project, the centers, not only from Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, cut across all the ISRO centers who have contributed for this launch vehicle. It's a novel vehicle which had been derived from the liquid propulsion, the strap-on stage of the GSLV, but entirely it's a new architecture. And I also like to congratulate the escape what is made possible through the crew escape system, the team behind me, led by Mr. Sunil, as well as Mr. Anand. And all the centers who have contributed, and the crew module. The crew module, in fact, the total assembly integration has been done by the new center, Human Space Flight Center. The young team, which are in the 20s to 25s, that age group has totally done it. Of course, there are old seniors are also there who are young at heart, who are also guided them, not only from this Human Space Flight Center, but great support from VSSC and all other centers who have contributed many systems for the crew module. So I take this opportunity to congratulate all our teams at Human Space Flight Center and all the other centers of ISRO. And also the final leg, we have seen how the parachute got deployed at. Yes, sir? Yeah. So I congratulate all the members who have participated in this mission, ADRD, as well as the DRDO agencies, as well as all the industries and other agencies. So let me thank once again and congratulations. Thank you very much.
The crew escape system is a very novel system. So the chief of the crew escape system design, Mr. Sunil.
Respected Chairman ISRO and all senior members, directors of centers. What should I say about this launch? It's such a perfect launch. We had a very good liftoff, and the crew escape system has functioned as it has planned. All the 4 motors fired, and the crew mode has come down with precision. So I'd like to take this occasion to thank all of the people who have worked behind this, the whole team, that is Team ISRO I can call, who has supported us all through this. We took around 2 to 3 months for completing all these activities at SHAR, and the people who have supported us and getting it is done. And I thank everybody, and thank you. Jai Hind.
I will also request the director of the Human Space Flight Center, Mr. M. Mohan, to address very shortly.
Good morning to all. This has been the first opportunity for the Gaganyaan mission to commence its journey, a long journey in the future to come. And I'm extremely happy that this Gaganyaan crew module, what now we are showing it live, floating in the ocean around 10 kilometers from the coast. And this has been a great journey for the young team of HSFC, who has prepared the crew module, and from scratch to the final configuration, accommodating all the parachutes and all the systems, and including the onboard systems, and perfectly timing all the openings of the parachutes, of the drogue chutes, the main chute, and finally we were able to capture, through the support of the Indian Navy, who are now ready to recover the crew module from the ocean anytime, and pick it up to the ship and then move it to the port at Chennai. And we are keenly awaiting to see physically the crew module at Chennai port by evening today. So let me at this occasion thank all the centers and all the HSFC team members for having this excellent performance of the first milestone, major milestone of the Gaganyaan program. Thank you very much.
I request the director of the VSSC Center, who is taking the responsibility to design this new vehicle, which is very unique in its configuration and shape, Dr. Unikrishnan Nair.
Good morning. The maiden flight of test vehicle along with crew module and crew escape system has been a total success, as we have seen. Though this is a small vehicle, it has got all the complex systems, and all the systems have worked normally. And the parachute system, you could see the parachute has got 7 mortars and then 10 parachutes. All of them worked. In fact, it is redundancies there, but everything was worked nominally. So I thank all ISRO centers, especially the Human Space Flight Center, because it is a major mission for the Gaganyaan, all industry partners, and ADRD as well as TBRL for the traveling with us for the parachute system realization. Thank you.
The new test vehicle, which is a liquid engine based stage, which is a very unique one. So this is the first time we have a liftoff of a rocket with a liquid engine firing as the booster stage. So the Credit goes to LPSC, the Liquid Propulsion System Center, Dr. Narayanan, director of that center.
Very good morning to all of you. It's a major achievement for ISRO and India that we have successfully accomplished a major experiment of crew escape system demonstration for the Gaganyaan program using a newly developed liquid propulsion based test vehicle. This is the 50th mission from the first launch pad. This mission had major new developments: the test vehicle, crew module, crew escape system, parachutes, and so on. The test vehicle is a new vehicle developed using modified Vigas engine-based air-storable propulsion system with 19 tons of propellant. A host of new developments like the realization of the crew module, crew escape system, separation system, avionics, parachute, mission design, and so on. The success of this mission is one of the major stepping stones towards the Gaganyaan program. The preliminary data shows perfect understanding and demonstration of the crew escape system meant for saving the crew in case of emergency. As the director of LPSC, which developed and realized this vehicle, along with IPRC and the chairman of the Mission Readiness Review, which reviewed the systems, really I feel so happy and satisfied on this occasion that we have accomplished a major achievement, and it is going to records of the ISRO. And on this occasion, let me congratulate and compliment all the ISRO team members, our partners from industry and other organizations, and our family members. Thank you. Jai Hind.
See, this mission had a very unique two inertial systems, one in the vehicle, one in the crew module. Both were operated very, very successfully, has a very unique way of two separate automatic launch sequence also running to make these two separate computational system work synchronously. And this inertial system is made out of the MEMS-based inertial navigation system. So, done by Indian ISRO Inertial Systems Unit's Director, Sri Palma Kumar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, the entire ISRO team, for making the first step of Gaganyaan journey so perfect by a successful simulation of a failure recovery condition. And I am very happy to say that all the inertial systems work perfectly fine. We had around 12 accelerometers and 15 gyros in this entire system, in two systems, one in test vehicle and the other in crew module. And I am happy to report that the entire system worked perfectly. So we have started the journey for the Gaganyaan, and I wish all the best for all of us for that first mission of Gaganyaan that is planned in the next year. Thank you all, and congratulations.
And to conclude, the chief of this center, Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sri Rajarajan, who is the chairman of the Launch Authorization Board, who prepared new facilities and new equipments to assemble this rocket and make it ready for the launch. Over to you.
Thank you, Chairman. A very good morning and an excellent and good house to the entire team ISRO and all the people who are doing an excellent job, like think, pause, and then start again. And a very good beginning. Well done. Actually, at this center, all the facilities have converged from various facilities, stakeholders, and last 3 months, we had an excellent test check, and it gives a very good confidence to start the Gaganyaan program in right earnest to achieving such a milestone. And a lot of activities are carried out in the new facilities of STS Ishar, where all the facilities of crew escape system, modules, and even TV vehicle has been checked and thoroughly, along with all other programs. And it is a very good beginning and gives a lot of confidence. Keep it up. We will have a wonderful time again to have a successful Gaganyaan mission in the times again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will also wish to congratulate the vehicle director and also the chief of the design team for the rest of the vehicle elements, which is the avionics, the mechanisms, all done by a group called HTDG. So congratulations to them as well. So currently you can see in the video the the team is approaching for the recovery of the crew module. So we'll come back with more visuals of those aspects of recovery, as well as bringing to the port a little later, and that will be posted through our other media. So we stop the transmission now, and thank you so much for joining this launch and waiting till this much of time with us to handle the hold and recovery operations as well. So we have started the journey of the Gaganyaan with this main launch of the test vehicle abort sequence, and this will be repeated multiple times at different conditions, and also will have an unmanned crew mission, unmanned Gaganyaan vehicle mission soon, the beginning of the next year. Until then, goodbye from Satish Dhawan Space Center. Thank you so much.
Constant styling can affect your hair health, but the Dyson Airwrap Multi-Styler is engineered to create incredible looks for every occasion with no heat damage. It intelligently controls air, harnessing the Coanda effect to shape with precision, smooth and hide flyaways, and achieve curls faster. Everyday styling for all hair types, no heat damage.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
RCP chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, roger, planet.
Water towers can fly! Yes!
Tango Delta nominal.
Flight downside, SCE off. Again, SCE off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.
You know it's a special day when we go live early. It is time for SpaceX to launch the Crew 6 mission to the International Space Station, and we are watching a Falcon 9 on pad 39A, which will launch in, just under 4 hours now. We will make sure until this countdown reaches its 0 time, we will answer all of your questions until then and cover everything you need to see and know before the crew will reach orbit. My name is Adrian Bile for NSF, and I'm your host today, and I'm here in the studio together with Alicia. Alicia, how are you doing?
Thrilled to be here with you guys. Super excited for Crew 6, especially the 3 first-timers on board. And hello to everyone tuning in tonight, especially those of you who maybe it's your very first launch. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
And we sure have everybody on board for today's launch, because we are not only here in the studio with 2 people, but we also have Mr. Michael Baylor in the background, making sure that everything here is properly covered and we see all the amazing scenes today. So hello, Michael. We also have Kevin Michael Reed in the background, who's also doing that. So we have 2 people here on deck for all the producing and directing. And then we have loads of people in the field. I will start with Mr. Thomas Burkhardt. Thomas, how is Florida?
Oh, it's a beautiful Florida night here, Adrian. Thanks. I'm actually here outside the Neil Armstrong Operations and Checkout Building where we are awaiting those 4 astronauts to come out from their crew quarters after completing their suit-up procedures and get ready to board some Teslas and make the ride over to Pad 39A. So that's where I am starting my evening, and we're looking forward to the launch later tonight.
Yeah, you really see, like we will cover every angle we can cover, and you will not miss anything here. We also have in the field Chris Gebhardt. Chris, how are you doing?
I am doing just fine, getting ready to watch Steve, Woody, Sultan, and Andre go to space tonight. Very good night.
There we go. And I don't want to miss more people we have in the field here as well. We have in the field as well Julia Bergeron, who will make photographs for this launch, as well as Sawyer Rosenstein, who's in the field for us. And we have also Steve in the field. So we have I feel like the whole Florida team basically is at the launch. So yeah, definitely an interesting and exciting day. And before we start to answer your questions, I want to throw it to Chris Gebhardt. Chris, do you mind giving us a mission overview of what we will see today?
Not at all, because today is the start of a 6-month-long journey to the International Space Station for the Crew 6 astronauts. So today we will see Steve Bowen, Woody Hoberg, Sultan Al-Niadi, and Andre Fedyevi go in board their Dragon Endeavour capsule and head up toward the International Space Station. Overall, the journey to the station will take approximately 1 day, with a rendezvous and docking on the 28th, with a liftoff on the 27th. And they will then spend about 6 months aboard the International Space Station. They will have about a week handover with the Crew 5 folks before Crew 5 returns. And then everything is for Crew 6, including all the science experiments that will take us out through roughly the September timeframe on board the station. Not exactly the plan that it was, but this is the only early 2023 crew rotation flight to the International Space Station. It was supposed to be 2. There was supposed to be a crewed Soyuz MS-23 vehicle that was to launch 3 new crew members up to the station, but that one ended up launching uncrewed a bit earlier this week to replace the Soyuz MS-22, which sprung a leak. So only 4 people being rotated off the International Space Station the first part of 2023, and the Soyuz crew will stay for a full year, departing in the September timeframe. So overall, that's a brief overview of the mission, but some pretty important points for this flight. One, it is a new booster. It is B-1078 making its first flight, but it is not the first flight for the capsule. This is Endeavour's 4th flight, the leader for the Crew Dragon fleet. Endeavour previously flew Demo 2, Crew 2, and Axiom 1 up to the International Space Station and is ready to go again. But also, this is Crew 6, which means it is the 6th post-certification mission for Dragon, which means this is the completion of the original crew rotation contract with SpaceX and NASA. There are many flights that have been added to it as part of a contract extension, but Crew 6 is technically the end of the very first contract for crew rotation that SpaceX had with NASA. So overall, a big night.
There we go. And during this big night, make sure to tag at NASA Spaceflight in chat if you have questions. We will make sure to answer everything we can during the next 3.5 hours. So you will for sure have some time to ask us questions here. And before we do that and start answering questions, I want to throw it to Alicia for some science overview of this mission. Do you mind giving us an overview of the science that will be conducted by the Crew 6 mission?
Absolutely. So, these crewed missions are always so great. There's so much science that they take up with them in their payload. And just being up there for 6 months allows them to do so much. So Crew 6 in particular is going to be doing actually 222 experiments. They'll be specifically conducting a ton of human research programs focusing on astronaut health risks. So things like altered immune systems while they're in space. One of those things, previously, the European Space Agency's immunity assay tested immune functions. So they would test them before and after a flight. But now they actually have a special newly designed assay tube that will allow them to do those tests while they're in flight. So that'll help to provide a bit more clarity for scientists just moving forward, how to best counteract some of those immune deficiency changes while in space. They're also going to be studying dietary things. Woody Hoberg actually mentioned he'll be eating a modified diet with more fish than usual, extra lycopene. That's a compound that's found in a lot of red fruits and vegetables. So essentially the pigment that, dyes your utensils in the kitchen orange, when you have tomato sauce, that stuff. They're also going to be doing spaceflight associated neuroocular syndrome tests. So that's an eye safety investigation, since astronauts, when they're in microgravity, their eye pressure is always something that's of concern. Also, vascular aging, looking at how spaceflight affects the vascular system. And something that's really exciting is they're going to be expanding on some experiments with these things called tissue chips, which are these small bioengineered devices that mimic the function of human organs in a 3D matrix. So things like the heart, the brain, the cartilage functions while they're on the space station. So scientists can effectively model changes in organs that occur really over time spans of months or years while they're in space, and then test them and how they react to treatments. So two in particular they'll be looking at now are something called the Cardinal Heart 2.0. So that'll be testing certain drugs to prevent changes in heart cell function and gene expression throughout spaceflight. So looking at possible drugs to treat patients with heart-related diseases, and also the Engineered Heart Tissues 2 test that will test for therapies that prevent space-induced changes in the heart tissue. So things that could potentially lead to cardiac disease. So again, things that are helpful here on Earth as well. And then they'll also be really, burning up the space station. They're conducting some fire safety investigations. So a continuation of some combustion research where they use the solid fuel ignition and extinction hardware insert, or SOFI, for the station's combustion integrated rack. Some new experiments that'll be burning solid fuel under relevant conditions like that to test how they can actually extinguish some spacecraft fires and also clean up those materials afterwards. That's important because they'll be looking at the flammability of materials used for projects and equipment in the future for space missions. And then also another experience that I think is fascinating, they are going to be taking a look at the effect of human space missions on the space environment itself. So near the end of the Crew 6 mission, they're planning to do some EVAs, some spacewalks. And while they're there, they're actually going to be swabbing the outside of the space station near some of the life support system vents, and they'll be looking for microbial life. So, bacteria, fungus, and whatnot, just to see if the ISS is actually releasing some of these microorganisms into space. And if so, how far they might travel. So the samples, once they return them to Earth, they'll be doing some DNA sequencing and some multigene analysis. And this is important for planetary protection and really to limit some potential contamination from Earth when we go on to visit places like the Moon and Mars. And actually, they specifically even cited Jupiter's moon Europa, which, hey, so that's really going to allow us to study more of these extremophiles, these microorganisms that are able to exist in the harshest of environments that we previously thought weren't even possible. So yeah, a lot of really cool science experiments coming up on this one for sure.
Thank you for that overview, and I can tease that we will have an interview at a later time, which will also go a bit more in the science side of this mission. So stay tuned for that as well. Certainly lots of love for the science here on the broadcast today. And I want to start with some questions here. And we will start with a question about the crew capsule here today, which is how many Dragon V2s are there at this point, and are there plans to build more? Also, are there any operational Dragon V1s still? Chris, do you mind taking that question?
Not at all. I'll take the second part of it first. There are no Dragon V1s still in operation. That line has been retired of the cargo crafts. In terms of the Dragon V2s, there are 4 crew vehicles, Endeavor, Resilience, Freedom, and oh boy, Endurance. There we go. And then there are 3 or 4 cargo capsules that go up to the International Space Station. Right now, the capsules are designed for 5 flights for certification, but SpaceX wants to get each of them and sees a path to get each of them up to 15 flights for certified use of each individual capsule. And there is word that there is a 5th capsule that is on the way. SpaceX originally was going to build 5, then they said no, 4 is enough, and word on the street is that they will in fact build a 5th as well.
There we go. Then we have a question here about the UAE astronaut Al Yanadi. Hey, NASA Spaceflight, will the UAE astronaut be doing some spacewalks with the NASA astronaut? Alicia, is it already known who will conduct the EVAs for this mission?
Not sure specifically who's going to be assigned to those just yet. If anyone else knows that, you can chime in, I guess. But he's definitely going to be doing a lot of the experiments with them throughout it. They've all been training together, for quite some time, years now, in order to do all of these together. But I know that's kind of going to be something that's slated a little later on while they're up there.
There we go.
And there's some
okay.
wiggle room for EVA assignments. If it's very specific tasks, like you're going out and you're installing a new solar array, they usually train for that pretty extensively on the ground with both extravehicular activity folks, so the two people who actually go outside, and the IVA or intravehicular person who coordinates between the ground and the crew outside while doing that. But there is a bit of cross training just in case, like if someone pulls a muscle or strains something up there during exercise and they can't go out the hatch to do the airlock, sometimes it's better to just swap out the crew member and go anyway and do
And
it.
Chris,
So, yeah.
Chris, funny you should mention that, because that's something that they are planning to do. Later on, they're going to be getting some ISS rollout solar arrays, the IROSAs,
Yep.
and they will be upgrading those on the space station and be doing those EVAs to install them. I think specifically the ones who I've been hearing talking about it the most are Steve Bowen, the commander,
Yeah.
and Woody Hoberg, the pilot.
Yeah.
And if we can now see the new black crew Teslas that are standing here. So just for a reminder, in the previous missions we had the white ones here, so apparently they changed them. I do not believe we know why exactly they changed them, but yeah, new crew vehicles. And they are waiting there, and Thomas is standing by to watch the crew walk out as soon as it happens.
I can report that they also have a new license plate reference on the back, so as they drive by, we'll have to keep an eye out for that, I think.
So you have not seen yet exactly what the license plate says?
No, I have, but I think those who are watching the live stream have to stay tuned and find out.
Oh, very good. Very
Ooh,
good point.
surprise reveal.
So I'm looking forward to see what kind of wording we have on the license plate again. But they look cool. I like them. I'm really looking forward to see the walkout soon. There's a question here by Travis, which I want to throw over to Chris G, which gives us the opportunity to talk about launch windows to the ISS. Why so early?
No one has any control over it. So the way you launch to the International Space Station is so from Florida and from Russia and from Japan. This actually all works the same way for the three nations that do launch their own stuff up to it. There's only one trajectory you can go, because in Florida you have to go northeast. You can't go southeast because of Bahamas land overflight. In Russia, you also have to go northeast because you can't overfly China and Mongolia. And in Japan, you can only go southeast because you can't go northeast for land overflight of that country. So that gives you the trajectory you have to go out on. And then the ISS's trajectory, when it passes over your launch site, it passes over twice a day, once going northeast and once going southeast. But you have to align your launch time to that moment. And for February 27th, 2023, from the Kennedy Space Center, that is 1:45 and 3 seconds for the Falcon 9 local time, and that is your liftoff time.
There we go. So it's not to make sure that we all get the minimum amount of sleep. It's just how it is. I believe you can see some footage of the suit up of the crew right now.
Yeah, that was Andrei Fedyaev, who we saw first there, the Russian cosmonaut on this particular flight, and mission specialist number 2 for the mission.
There we go. It's certainly a very international mission with three nations involved here. So we might be very soon to the crew walkout here. Getting certainly very close. And let's try to hit some more questions before that. But another question here is, how do the crew keep themselves entertained on a long trip to the station? Space Netflix. Alicia, would you have trouble to keep yourself entertained in space?
Oh my God, if I was in one of those capsules, I would be entertained every freaking second of that entire mission. Are you kidding me? I'd love to go into space. But, it's funny. I remember when we were watching the Crew 5 one, who was it? Anna Kakina, I believe, was going in there. And didn't it look like she was falling asleep And she like slept through the whole thing. She was so chill about it. I would imagine though, riding on top of a Falcon 9, that'd wake you up pretty fast. So no, I mean, it's a while, but it's not that long of a trip. So I don't know. Maybe they sing songs. Who knows?
I feel like the part of the mission that'll get you is the couple hours you get to sit on the pad. Because like once you board,
Yeah.
there's all that time built into for any troubleshooting and stuff like that. And if there's no troubleshooting, you are just kind of sitting there for a couple hours, and before the rocket's even propeller loading or anything like that. So I feel like that's the minute that gets you, and you might actually fall asleep.
And
shuttle astronauts on the mid deck used to fall asleep because they were passengers along for the ride and had nothing to do. And you can hear in some of the comm loops too, the pilot and the commander would jokingly call down, "Y'all awake down there?" At like 5 minutes to go. Yeah.
The worst seat on the shuttle. Oh man.
No windows. I know.
Oh. Sounds like my day at
But,
work.
but to answer your question about entertainment, the personalized iPads that they take up with them on the Dragons have loaded entertainment. For example, Chris Sembrowski, who was part of the Inspiration 4 mission for SpaceX and Dragon, was watching Spaceballs as they were preparing for reentry. So there is entertainment baked into their personal iPads that they take with them. Yes.
And we're getting a very ominous zoom here right now on the walker door. So I'm not sure if that is a sign of imminent happening, but we got a zoom. So
it's a sign that things are near. Yes.
Yes, it was a very slow zoom to the door. So it's like this has some hype generating here right now. So we might be very, very close here. And of course, this is always exciting part of the crew launches, because this is not something we usually get on any other Falcon 9 mission, of course. So this is the reason why we go live at like 4 hours and not 45 minutes, because there's a lot to talk about.
झूमे क्या
কি বললি? দূর তুই কাঁদছিস?
আরে তো আনন্দের কান্না পুষ্পা। জল জল পুষ্পা।
এসে গেছে নতুন সিজলিং হট রেঞ্জ, এত ঝাল যে
জমে গেছে।
During this,
Here they come.
And here they come.
Yes.
So that's Woody on the left, Steve on the right, up front, and behind Steve is Sultan Al-Niadi, and then behind Woody there is Andre from Roscosmos.
4 on countdown. About to step into crew walkout. We remain on schedule.
And there was just a call out there. They remain on schedule for now, which is good to hear. But they, of course, have some wiggle room in the schedule as well, so they can sometimes gain time. We saw that before, that sometimes they are able to gain some time or have some extra wiggle room to catch up on time if they, for example, have to leak check a little more longer or something like that. Okay. So I don't know the exact anatomy of this building, I have to admit here. They're taking an elevator down, I would imagine.
Yes. So the crew quarters are on one of the upper levels of this building. It's not a very tall building. It's like 3-4 stories total. Not very big, but this is. But they take the elevator down to the bottom floor there, and then there's a little bit of a hallway that they go down, and then they emerge in the very famous image that we see from that doorway.
Hey. Nice.
With the 6. I like that.
Love it.
That's a neat little idea. So will they change it for every mission now? They have to, right?
Well, they've been changing them for every mission, to be fair.
Oh.
Have they? Oh.
Yeah, like some of the ones said later Earth or bust. Some of them said, the license plates have been different.
I love that.
Oh, I wonder who picks them. It's like SpaceX doing the jokes and plates, or is it like the astronauts who ask, like, "Hey, what do you Tesla?"
That's a good question. Yeah.
I'm actually curious, and yeah, I don't know.
Good.
But here we have the families, right, standing by to say a goodbye to their family members before they fly. And I believe
Indeed,
they're standing in front of the door.
Yep, they're just behind the doors. You can see them in there. And you can see the armored personnel carrier behind there, the security for them today.
There's also some press there. We see a lot of people standing behind the barricades. Try to spot
Very
Thomas.
True. I know he's somewhere behind one of those barricades, isn't he?
Yeah, it's like trying to find Thomas is can be a game here, I feel like. But I have not been able to find Thomas yet. Let's hit one more question since it's related to what is happening here. Why do astronauts actually load so early into their capsules? So Alicia, why are they already going to the capsule this early?
There's so many tests that they have to do. They got to get them all strapped in. They got to get them all safe. They got to seal it up. And then there's just a whole long list of checks that they have to do, technical checks to make sure everything is safe for them to actually light it and send it. It takes a while. And, you know, there's always that funny story, you know, with Alan Shepard. You know, he was up there in his capsule. It took so long, and there they come. He ended up having to pee himself.
Oh, they look all excited.
Well, for 3 of them, it's their first time.
Yeah, I would be excited if I could.
Steve is the only veteran of the flight, the commander, yeah.
Steve's probably like, oh, I'm chill about this. I did this before.
He's done it 3 times before, yeah.
I would imagine it would be such a mix of emotions. You know, they've gone through so much training that it's you know, muscle memory, I feel like, at this point. But also it's real finally. You know, these people have been training for years. Andrei, actually, Fedyaev, he was selected in 2012. It's been over 10 years that he's been waiting to fly.
Versus Sultan, who was selected in 2018 as one of the first 2 Emirati astronauts as part of their astronaut corps. Yeah.
So yeah, it's also I feel like this is maybe like one of the emotional moments